Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Q1 FY22 earnings conference call of Kirti Industries India Limited. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in listen-only mode and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Anuj Sonpal of Valorem Advisors. Thank you and over to you, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. My name is Anuj Sonpal from Valorem Advisors. We represent the investor relations of Kirti Industries India Limited. On behalf of the company, I would like to thank you all for participating in the company's earnings conference call for the first quarter of financial year 2022. Before we begin, I would like to mention a short cautionary statement. Some of the statements made in today's earnings conference call may be forward-looking in nature. Such forward-looking statements are subject to risks and uncertainties which could cause actual results to differ from those anticipated. Such statements are based on management's beliefs as well as assumptions made by and information currently available to management. Audiences are cautioned not to place any undue reliance on these forward-looking statements in making any investment decisions. The purpose of today's earnings conference call is purely to educate and bring awareness about the company's fundamental business and financial quarter under review. Now let me introduce you to the management participating with us in today's earnings conference call. We have with us Mr. Shiv Singh Mehta, Chairman and Managing Director, and Mr. Shashank Belkade, Group Chief Financial Officer. I now request Mr. Mehta to give his opening remarks. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Anuj. Good afternoon, all of you who are participating in today's call. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you to this earnings conference. Friends, we are certainly in a little better times and have little relief from the initial second wave which we have faced in last couple of months. Certainly, we can look forward to better times with rollout of vaccination, which is progressing very well and which will help in terms of economic revival. I just hope that all of you are keeping safe and you are taking full care under the current circumstances. Before we get into discussion on quarterly performance, let me give you a brief background about company because some of you might have joined for the first time in this investors conference. I will give you a brief overview that Kirti Industries is a manufacturer of premium quality piping products and solutions for agriculture, non-agriculture applications like building products, industrial solutions. We are headquartered at Indore, Madhya Pradesh, and our plant is very well placed at a strategic location which is equidistant from large consumer markets like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Telangana, some parts of UP, and so on and so forth. So being located at a strategically locational, well-placed plant, we have been able to get a good manufacturing capacity, which will be one of the large capacities in India, with a total capacity of about 125,000 tons per annum, with state-of-art facilities like 21 extrusion lines in PVC, 14 extrusion lines HDPE and drip, 25 injection molding machines, and all our products are sold under brand Casta, which are well known in central India for its superior product quality, services, reliability, and generally a very well strong distribution network of more than 400 dealers spread across 16 states of India. Now I'll request our CFO, Mr. Shashank Belkade, to give you financial highlights for the quarter.
Thank you very much, sir. And good afternoon, everybody. I once again welcome all of you to the earnings con call of Kirti Industries India Limited. My name is Shashank Belkade. I am the Chief Financial Officer in Kirti. I would now like to take you through the key financial and operational performance of our company on a consolidated basis. The operating income for the quarter was around 154 crore rupees, which was an increase of approximately 22% on quarter-on-quarter basis. The operating EBITDA reported was 13.6 crore rupees. The EBITDA margin stood at 8.83%. The net profit from the continued operation has been reported as 6.4 crore rupees, and the net profit after taking into consideration the one-time profit from the discontinued operation stood at 12.3 crore rupees with a PAT margin of 7.99%. Friends, during the quarter, the operation and the business were impacted by more than 15 days in the month of April and beginning of June due to the second lockdown. The second half of April was still very good on the business front, but from the second half onwards, the business environment was impacted. The global PVC prices continued to gain strength in Q1 FY22 initially and then softened at the end of quarter. Q1 is generally considered to be a peak season for agri sales, and there was a drop in volumes due to the second wave of pandemic as most of the dealer shops were closed. However, the business started picking up well from the third week of June. The demand momentum has improved in July and it has seen a growth in the month of August. The company was able to maintain the EBITDA margins in spite of drop in global PVC prices and decline in the agri sales volume on Y-on-Y basis. With that, now we can open this floor open for question and answer session. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, before we move on to the question and answer session, I would also like to just mention that board, on the basis of the quarterly experience, we believe that it will be prudent to give a revised guidance for our expected turnover of rupees 1200 crore rupees. So earlier we had projected that this could probably be achieved by the year FY23. But now because of these two lockdowns in the year 2020 and 2021, most of the opportunities have been lost by most of the companies, and we feel it prudent to give a revised guidance on the same, that probably the number which we had projected to be achieved by FY23, we are hopeful that with the vaccination speed going on in the country and the control in the pandemic cases, new cases coming down drastically, we should be able to achieve this number by the end of FY24. Thank you very much. Now the house is open for question and answer session.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephones. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Viraj Mehta from Equirus PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Sir, my first question is regarding our volumes. If we look at the revenue is flat, whereas the volume drop is north of 30%, which means the prices went up by almost 45%. If I look at this trend in some of the other players, the rise in price does not seem to be so steep. It probably is between 15 and 25% across most listed players. Can you solve this dichotomy for us, please?
If you look at Prithi's business profile, we are developing building product segment now. We are mostly entrenched into agriculture segment, where overall GP margins, if you look at different players' operational balance sheet and Prithi, you will find that our EBITDA margins are lower towards about 10% around, plus minus. While any player who is more entrenched in building product space would have a higher EBITDA margins. So our drop in, the prices have dropped in raw material only towards June, not before that. So obviously with the downward, quantities, the prices were higher, and that's why the turnover were as much higher in comparison to the volumes sold. Because last year to this year, the price increase has been almost 35 to 40% on PVC.
Sure. My second question is regarding the revised guidance of 1,200 crores. When you say 1,200 crores, what I wanted to understand is that what are you indicating in terms of volumes? Because prices is anybody's guess. Would the volumes be closer to 1.25 lakh, which is our capacity? Is that what you are saying?
You see, 1.25 is the total capacity. And you have to see that when you produce consistently, there are die changes, different sizes, different years of the year, times of the year where peaks and troughs come. So this guidance of about what we have said, 1,200 crores should be achieved with a processing of about 80,000 plus minus 10%.
Okay. So this is only at 80,000 we should be able to achieve 1,200 odd crores.
Right.
Also, sir, last thing regarding, we had a longer term vision of putting up a plant in South India to reduce our costs in terms of freight and everything. At what I would say are the milestones in terms of market share in some of those states that we are seeding today? Will you go ahead and plan that new plant?
I had given this indication in last call. It's also that we are first looking at developing market, and once we achieve critical volumes, we will plan a plant in the location based on the volumes you create in that particular region. And our estimate is that it is not based on the percentage of market share, but the processing cost should offset the additional processing manufacturing cost disadvantage should offset the freight cost which we have to incur from a distance.
Understood. And just one last thing in terms of, there is a sale transaction and some exceptional gain of one of our subsidiaries, Kriti Auto. Share a little bit more light on it. Was it, and what did we, just a little bit, what happened?
You see, we had put up this plan for automobile ancillary, supplies to automobile companies, and we were doing it for last couple of years where we were not able to really develop a business in the space which we would have liked, because automobile industry itself was going through a lot of difficult times. And then to bring more focus where we as a company see more opportunities in comparison, we thought and the board thought it's prudent to specifically focus the areas which are offering much better growth opportunities, looking to the company stage and placement at this point in time.
Sure. Thanks a lot and best of luck, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ankit from Bamboo Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, on the volume side, given the sharp decline in volume we have seen in Q1 of this year because of rural market being also impacted in this second COVID wave. So do you think we'll be able to achieve last year's volume in volumes given Q1 has seen such sharp decline?
You see, Q1 is one of the very important quarters of the year. But this time, unfortunately, even rural area was deeply impacted. And we had seen most of the shops and areas were closed and movements were restricted. However, after month of June, from July, there is a positive movement everywhere their shops have opened and commercial activities have begun. With the rollout of vaccination and generally what we are seeing, that situation is improving. So if we are looking at the coming 3 quarters, we are quite hopeful and optimistic for a good revenue growth because of one, there is a good monsoon. Number two, there is a pent-up demand of last time which is coming to the market. And third, overall realization by average farmer is much superior to earlier years because most of the commodities are getting much better price. So affordability is better. And again, company is focusing in building product segment where there is a reasonably good acceptability, and we are hopeful that our plans towards building products will be able to help us further in the coming quarters.
Sure, sir. So, yeah, coming to this part, the last part that you spoke about building product, can you throw more light on how has been, because first quarter has been flat in terms of volume and that can be expected because of COVID changes. So how are the remaining 3 quarters looking like in building product segment, and overall, our ambitions of achieving 200-250 crore of revenue in terms of building product segment in over the next 3 years, how does it look like going forward?
On building product segment, there was definitely a little impact in the first quarter in terms of total volume growth, what we had planned, because of limitation of market. Because Ed had explained earlier also that our focus is that we will use our existing networks to strengthen our sales, and thereafter we will progress to the next step, next level. However, the total growth has been quite encouraging, and we are hopeful that we should be able to achieve our plans of next 3 years in building products.
Sure, sir. Yeah, sir. Yeah. Sir, last question on the new states that we were planning to enter, Karnataka and Andhra. So how has been, have we started supplying to them in first quarter, or we are still planning to enter them in the coming quarters?
Andhra and Telangana we have been supplying.
Yeah,
Karnataka, there was only initial start, but because of COVID, there was no local movement permitted. So actual action will only start once the free movements are permitted. We were constrained and restrained in terms of movement in Karnataka during the last quarter.
Okay. So, but have we started supplying in Q2, or like have the supplies been ramped up in Q2?
Q2 we have just made the beginning, but you see these are months of rain. So real impact, how successfully we are able to do it, we will be able to really assess it from the month of October only.
Okay.
Yeah, because now it's a full-time rain,
Sure.
Agri sector generally come down considerably during when it rains.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. I'll come back to you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhwanil Desai from Total Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Hope you guys are safe and sound. Sir, first question is on industrial products. So I think, in FY20, our volume was, around 11,000 tons. Then it dropped to 5,000. And this quarter, I think we have done around 1,100 tons. So, sir, I wanted to get your views that do you see enough activity and demand on that side to go back to FY20 level this year or the next year? And is the margin profile in that segment somewhere closer to building products or closer to agri segment?
Which sector?
Industrial.
Institutional sector generally was constrained during this period because of pandemic. The actual ground activities were limited. However, going forward, as I had said, we will be very watchful because most of the supplies are through EPC contractors, and they are in turn dependent on government payments, and then only we are getting payments from EPC contractors once their payment position is comfortable. So as I had said, we will be very careful and watchful on institutional supplies, and that's why kept a limited exposure or plan in our AOP also, that we will be targeting about 120 crores during the current year, and we are hopeful that we should be able to achieve that.
Okay, got it. And sir, the margin profile of that is similar to building products or lesser than that?
No, it is less than building products, and it is always, volume on a product-wise, what kind of a business opportunity comes through.
Okay. Second question, sir. I think you mentioned that we command around 10% market share in Maharashtra, and if my understanding is correct, that's around 3,000 crore kind of a market. So somehow we're not able to connect the dot as to 10% of that 3,000 crore is a very large number. So I mean 10%, are we meaning to any specific product segment, or can you throw some light on that?
You see, Maharashtra, BP, we are just beginners in building product space. It is a very large market in Maharashtra. We are only talking agriculture or water pipes supplies to Maharashtra market. And that is where we are getting traction in the areas and the districts we are now focusing. I mean, we are not in all the districts, but we are in majority of districts of Maharashtra now.
Okay. So that means that this 10% market share is for the districts which we have our presence
and launched ourselves.
Okay.
And in agriculture space, not in building products space.
Okay, got it, sir. And sir, my last question is on the building product. So I think we did around 2,500 tons in FY21. And even in Q1, our volumes, at least we were able to maintain on the same run rate as last year Q1. So do you see this segment growing at 30-40% at least this year?
You see, building product growth will be certainly more than agriculture, and we are very hopeful for 2-3 reasons. One, wherever we are present in agriculture sector, we are able to utilize our distribution network to sell BP, so there is an immediate access to the market. Number two, our brand is helping us to, relate with the customers who are coming to buy building products. And third, our range, as I had explained, up to 2.5 inches is fully now ready, so that we are able to offer the full basket of products in that range.
Okay, so we expect some decent growth over last year basis.
We are quite hopeful that we should be able to encash our brand and network to promote building products.
Great. Thanks and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rahul Jain from Credence Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, we do understand Q1 has been really tough for the industry, given the second wave of COVID was really quite disturbing. And typically this time it affected the rural towns much more. And that's how our business being dependent on the agri part, we have been affected. But just to understand, sir, the various segments, all the 3 segments put together, just to understand, because our Q1 is always a very heavy quarter in terms of the agri demand, how much of this demand which we must have lost due to COVID, due to the lockdowns, can that demand come, is it completely lost, or there is some kind of pent up whereby someone will still come and purchase? How do we understand this in different segments?
You see, for agriculture, the most loyal demand lost is not that it is gone, because what we understand that a customer will definitely come back to buy if he has a urge, if he has a need. if he feels that he has to improve his infrastructure, because of limitations of market or movement, or because of any other reason, he may not buy at that point in time. And that is why he has not come to market. But sooner or later, he will come back because he needs irrigation products to do his work in the field. So if not yesterday, maybe today or tomorrow, he'll come back to buy. This is how we look at it.
So it is not a demand which is completely lost forever. It will.
No, I mean, it's an infrastructure product. So one needs it. It's not a consumption product. So one will require it. So there is certainly a definite reason to believe that tomorrow he will come back because he is needing it to irrigate his farmland.
Okay. Sure. And the same would be the case with the other segments also of industrial and building products?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Sure. And sir, second question, you alluded to a previous participant question with regards to revenue growth this year. But just to understand on the volume part, sir, like last 2 years, our volumes in March 20 were around 55,000 tons. In March 21, it was around 51,000 tons. And current year, our first quarter volumes are 11,000. Just doing a pure math, even if we want to maintain similar volumes of last year, in the remaining 9 months, you need to probably grow your volumes almost to the tune of 20-21%. Is that possible for you to achieve, or can we have a flattish volumes this year compared to last year?
You see, now, we having lost the first quarter, which is very crucial and important, and in an uncertainty as we are traveling in terms of some possibilities here or there of COVID impact in some form or other, we are keeping, that's why we gave this guidance at the beginning itself, that looking to whatever we have faced in first quarter, there is a prudent need to revise our guidance for our future of 1,200 crores projection to 2024. So we'll be very watchful. But only I would like to qualify what I am saying by saying that, one, we definitely see a deep intent on part of farmers to buy, because in our interactions wherever we have, we find that he wants to buy pipes for his field. There is a pent-up demand, and again, there was a substantial increase in the raw material prices last year, which are there to stay. So the mental acceptance of new price base also is helping him to convert his intent into a commercial decision. So we are hopeful that there will be a growth, but how far that growth will culminate into actual numbers, we have to be, another 2 months are very important for us to see, because initial rain forecasts were very good. So far, August rains were reasonable, and how the rest of the 1 month of monsoon progresses and what kind of a water availability there is to be seen.
Sure. So just to clarify, when you talked about assuming the situation to be normal, you said we can expect some volume, we can expect growth. That growth, as far as FY22 is concerned, you're talking in terms of volume. Is my understanding right, sir?
Volume, we are talking in terms of volume, and we are hoping our assessment based on the progress of monsoon as well as what kind of a pandemic situation evolves here on. And we are hopeful that the pent-up demand will come back to the market.
Sure, that's very helpful, sir. Last question. So with regards to Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, if you could give some more details about how the traction has been in last 3-4 months and what steps now we have taken further in last 3-4 months to improve our reach, to improve our distribution, to improve our sales in the newer areas, the newer states which we have been targeting for last 2-3 years. Just to understand what kind of steps we have taken further in last 3-4-5 months, and we plan to take in next 2-3 months so that we can accelerate our growth in the newer markets.
A general point of observation, we saw that in this first quarter pandemic impact, we found South was less impacted MP, Maharashtra, Rajasthan were impacted more. So if you ask me what was the state-wise, a region-wise impact, so I would say that we, in our sales number, what we see that from our projections, we did better in the southern 8 states as compared to central, that is Madhya Pradesh or Maharashtra states, where the lockdown was total. Total movements were almost difficult. So if you see our efforts, we are continuing our efforts in all these states like Maharashtra, Telangana or Andhra Pradesh. And our dealers are also quite hopeful there that they will be able to find good market in the coming months.
Sure. Thank you so much and wish you all the best, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Jatin K from Alder Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Congrats for a decent set of results in a tough quarter. Sir, I wanted to understand how much would be the inventory gains or loss for this quarter as well as for the past year.
Last year numbers I had given you that we had an inventory gain of all correctly. But this quarter there was no inventory gain. We had little inventory loss, if you ask me, because towards month of June prices had come down. So if you look at in numbers, it will be very difficult to give exact inventory numbers in terms of, but about 3 to crores plus minus something would be the loss in this quarter.
Sorry, sir, I lost last year's number. Can you please repeat that?
If I remember right, 6 crores was our inventory gain last year. But this time, this quarter, we had an inventory loss, which would be around something plus minus 3 crores. I don't have exact numbers here, but some around that.
Sure, sir. And sir, in terms of current quarter, as in our first quarter and third quarter are quite good. So now you're saying first quarter we had a lot of issues. So we expect things to be improving in second and third quarter, or are we seeing difficult times to continue in the current quarter?
No, I still feel the second quarter should be reasonable. Third quarter should be quite good. And fourth should be also good. So things have started improving in this quarter from the last quarter.
Sure, sir. And sir, on FY24, 1,200 crore guidance, would you like to split it in between the divisions, the 3 divisions?
Let me do my homework, get back to my drawing board and come back, because things have been so uncertain. We are still making ground level assessments, state-wise, product-wise, region-wise, and the impacts have been fairly, fast in terms of like up to April 15, we were very hopeful. Things were going very well. And just at the end of first 15 days of the quarter, there was a total lockdowns all across. And this time the rural impact was far greater than what we had ever anticipated. So that's why I'm saying we are going through the data, going to drawing boards of product-wise. I'll be able to give you, after a detailed analysis, some feedback on this.
Sure, sir. And on margin, any guidance for this year or for the future?
Margins should be reasonable. You see, last year we had inventory gains. I'm not sure that there will be inventory gains for the current year. But yes, margins should be, as we had said, we will be definitely able to maintain or improve than what we have been doing. That is 10% plus minus wherever we see. Because, in the market, everyone is like to looking at market with the EBITDA margins. And we are focusing more on building products and fitting. So they generate generally better EBITDA margins.
So close to 10%, sir.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Ravi from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good afternoon. Could you split your sales? You have given your market share between for MP, Rajasthan and Maharashtra. Possible to share your revenue mix between these 3 states?
Can you be a little louder, please?
Yeah. Am I audible now?
Yeah, now much better. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. Could you share your revenue split between the 3 main market of yours, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Maharashtra?
You want state-wise revenue?
Yeah, revenue mix, yes. For the year as a whole, that would be more useful. Quarterly may not be of much of a matter.
For the whole year, projection?
No, not projection, sir. For example, in FY21, what was your revenue split between the 3 states?
Last year revenue, I don't have it handy. Can you give me your email? We can try and send you the details.
Sure. Yeah. I'll reach out to the IR people.
Yeah,
Okay.
please. We'll send
And
it to last
second,
year.
I see you have grown from 300, 400 crore top line to 600 crore. I'll bet few years have been under pressure, but even being a small company, you have been continuously growing. If we look into the commentaries of the pipes majors, they continue to talk about industry consolidation, smaller players facing heat, and that is whereby the market share gain has been fast for larger players. How do you look at all these arguments, and can you throw some light on these?
I certainly see a merit in this statement that there is a consolidation which is likely to happen in industry, because that's how the whole industry is evolving. Advantage with Krasta is that our brand is very popular in the areas where we dominate markets, and we are far ahead of in terms of market share. So this has come out of certain company product quality, services and supply range. And once we have gone to the new territories, we have found that we have been able to find good acceptance, and we have been able to make reasonably successful penetration in the area of our in last 2-3 years. And this confidence that we'll be able to develop market, and our journey as per our plans should be possible.
Okay. So that's right. Going forward, you have been talking about 1,200 crore top line FY24. That's happening. No, I was more about the past 4 to 5 years. Which are the companies which have gone down under or have seen significant erosion? Because you as a company has been growing. I see from 300, 400 crore top line to 600 crores. There have been few hiccups because of COVID. FY 2021 both have been, for the industry as a whole. But I'm saying a small size company, a regional focused company, if you have been able to grow, what sort of companies have faced the heat, or have, got adversely impacted?
You see, I personally feel that now buyer is becoming discerning. He wants product and a value for his investment. He wants to trust a known brand. So if one is able to travel this journey, there is every reason for him to see future with optimism. And that's been our journey. So any company which has not been able to develop a brand or a satisfied or happy customer base, or a dealership strength, would have to find reasons how to succeed.
Okay. And lastly, for the 3 segments, what would be your desired, in next 2 to 3 years, a broad revenue breakup between all the 3 business segments, and what could be a sustainable margins for all these 3 segments?
You see, maximum, what we had said when we had planned out our projections, we said that we will take our building product to about 200 crores on 3 to 4 years. We had said that institutional sales, we will limit to about 200 crores around that, because that is where we are not very sure about payment cycles with EPC contractors. So we'll be watchful and careful in terms of sales. So obviously the rest of it will come through our existing product portfolios. So this is how the general breakup would be. As far as margins are concerned, building products offer better margins as compared to agriculture and institutional sales.
Okay, so the last 2 years margins Are there any benchmark, sort of numbers that we should be looking at?
So we have been said that we will definitely try to be in double digit in terms of agriculture, and building product we will like to, target ourselves against the industry's average, and that's what we will try to aspire to achieve.
Okay. And and you already mentioned that 80,000 plus minus 10K, 80 to 90,000, you would be able to achieve this 1,200 crore top line. So
Yes.
this doesn't entail any future expansions, capex it's an asset sweating which will drive your revenues, right?
Our capexes are only towards improvement of efficiencies, product development, and that's where, and some marginal capex for some new specific product market, what we are developing wherever we see a growth.
Okay. So how much would they entail in terms of capex for next 2 to 3 years? For 22, 23?
As per our current plans, there is a regular capex for the efficiency gains or product development. Like in fittings, you have to have range. Today we have a limitation of up to a certain size. Now if you want to expand that range, then we'll have to go for investment for those molding lines or those molds which are required. So this kind of a capex, annual capex will keep happening, but mostly it is planned out of internal generation as well.
Okay, and how much this number would be, sir, annual basis? Any ballpark numbers?
You see, anyway, for any plant of our size would be spending 10 crores plus minus 10-20% any time every year.
Every year, okay.
That is minimum for maintenance and development. And any major plans which we succeed and development happens, then there will be an additional capital.
Okay. Great, sir. Thank you. All the best, sir. We'll come back in queue for follow-ups.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vivek, an individual investor. Please go ahead. So Vivek, your line is in talk mode. Kindly go ahead with your question, please. As there is no response from the current participant, we move to the next question from the line of Varun Sheth, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. I think thank you for the opportunity.
Your voice is breaking up. Maybe request you to move to the reception area.
Better?
Okay.
Most of my questions have been answered. First on clarification on the capex part. What I wanted to understand is that currently today our building product capacity is 1,000 metric tons per annum. And if I do some mathematics around what turnover we have achieved in this quarter or in previous quarters, it roughly pans out to about 70 to 80 crores likely to be achieved from that capacity. And if we're targeting 200 to 250 crore turnover from building products, then we would need some additional capex on that side of building products. So if you can throw some light on that, please.
You see, this growth will require additional capex if we are able to succeed with our numbers is in the financial year 22-23, not in 21-22, because by the time we grow to that level, we would reach, to this level we will reach with the current capex and an additional investment for mold and molding machines, what will be required will be at that point in time. That's what I was explaining just now.
Okay, so I basically understood that in order to achieve 1,200 crores and to process 80,000 turnovers, you do not need any additional capex.
No, it is not on the, that's what I'm saying. For molding and molding machine, because if you expand your range and you grow beyond, you will have to invest, and that will happen in next financial year. We don't foresee in the current financial year.
Okay. And that would be in the range of 10 crores or more?
No, it will depend on how much range you build up. Otherwise, it will be minimum reasonable expenditure for developing the range and the capacity. But we are hopeful that most of it can be done through internal accruals in the coming year.
Okay. No, sir. So my point was basically in order to achieve 200 crores, I'm sure you would have identified the range and all.
Yeah. But that will be the next financial year. That is 2022-23.
Okay, when the capex will start and when those designing will start.
Right.
Then will you be able to sell immediately in FY23 and FY24?
No, we are building up. We have 6,000 tons is our existing capacity. So first let's achieve up to say close to that, and then we keep on investing. It doesn't happen that it stops here and starts. It's a continuous process, a journey. So it keeps happening simultaneously.
Right. And just one more last question on the agriculture side. So how much, sir, would be the replacement demand and how much would be the new demand according to you?
You see, India is still largely enormous potential to irrigate. If you see the consumption per capita and possibilities of irrigating land, it's a huge potential. Even the most developed areas, because India is not uniformly developed. Some of the districts are much more developed than others. But even the so-called Indian developed districts, the demand is fairly robust for even now for peace. So next 10 years, we don't see anywhere close to where we can see a replacement demand will be the basis of calculation. It is the pent-up demand and replacement demand which are adequate and enough for market and industry to grow.
Got it. Thank you, sir, and best of luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Anand Mundra, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Just wanted to check. Historically, we have done around 7-8% margin at 500 crore revenue. Now, this quarter, we have done 9% revenue on 110 crore revenue. So, I was just thinking, so what has changed since there is no inventory gain, as you mentioned some time back?
You see, as I had said, we are working on our new territories where slowly we are getting our brand recognition and helping us. For last 2-3 years, we are working on new territories. And new territories, when you have brand recognition, you start getting better market margins, one. Number two, when you are building product sales improve or your fitting sales improve, they offer you better margins. So it's an aggregate sum of all these initiatives which are reflected in margins.
Okay, so can we safely assume, sir, that 500 crore size, we will be able to do 9-10% EBITDA?
We are quite hopeful. We certainly should maintain and we should try to improve.
Okay, great, sir. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Yachna Bhatia, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Please proceed with your question.
Yeah, I just have one question. So as you expand into new geographies, you just mentioned that as the brand gets established, you are able to improve your margin. But you are currently right now in a phase where you are expanding to new geographies also. So
Can you repeat? It's not very clear. Can you repeat, please?
Better now?
Better now. Yeah, please go ahead.
You just mentioned to the previous participant that, as you expand into new geographies and your brand gets established, you start seeing improving realizations and better margins. My question was that, right now we are on a phase that we are adding even more geographies right now. So, for example, we're talking about Telangana, Karnataka. So, in this interim period, do you see that, there could be pressure on gross margins as you need to establish a brand in these places?
You see, wherever you are established and where the brand recognition starts responding, your margins keep improving. So one point is the part is acceptance. So this is a combination of two, that how far the logistics you have to manage and what kind of brand acceptance you create in the market. So it's a combination, as I was saying too, and this is where one of the questions I was asked, when would you plan a new unit? So the question is, the new unit will be based on critical mass, and that is the time again there will be a better contribution towards margin, because the logistics cost will be compensated by a local manufacturer. Am I able to explain your question?
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next question is a follow from the line of Viraj Mehta from Equirus PMS. Please go ahead. Mr. Mehta, your line is on talk. Kindly go ahead with your question, please.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Sir, just one question. You said we had inventory loss of 3 crores this quarter. Is that the correct understanding?
Yeah, you are absolutely. I mean, I don't have exact numbers. I said it should be around,
roughly.
Yeah, around that.
So,
something plus minus 10% here there is possible. I can't give you exact number.
No.
Yeah.
So for EBITDA, it was around 30.5 crore quarter. Is 16 and odd quarter. Then margins are still north of 10% even on such volumes. Just wanted to understand the scale and.
I'll tell you. I mean, I'll try to explain this point to you. You see, Casta brand today enjoys a brand premium, and customer pull enables us to sell at premium. At certain point in time when the market prices were dipping, we were able to hold our price line because of the demand from whichever the quarter. I mean, we were able to. That's why our overall margins in a kind of this kind of a market we were able to improve. But because of inventory loss, our overall targeted EBITDA margins were lower.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, sir, for the clarification. I'll get back in the queue.
Thank you. The next question is a follow from the line of Ankit from Bamboo Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow-up again. Sir, on the building product side, how big will be the markets in MP, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra compared to, let's say, agricultural pipes?
I lost out your voice in between. Can you repeat your question, please?
Sure, sir. Sir, on the BP side, building product side, how big is the market size of Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh, and Rajasthan?
You see, building product market size almost, I would say, if 100 is agriculture market, building product is about 75 in terms of proportions, if you ask me.
Okay.
Building product is a very large market, and it is bigger market in the developed states like Maharashtra as compared to a less developed state like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, because more of construction activities and housing are, progressive housing are done in these states as compared to the Madhya Pradesh or Rajasthan or Bihar or certain backward states.
Sure, sir, sure. And sir, on the launch of building products in this state, have we launched all across our distributorship which we have for agriculture pipes, or we are covering it gradually and over the next few months or over the next few quarters we'll be able to cover them?
So what we did, we have offered to all our agriculture dealers our building products, but we have to train them, educate them, develop them to sell building products, which is a process. Because selling building products and selling agriculture products have some similarities, but some different capabilities are required from the distribution and selling dealer side. So it's a process. So we have launched through them, but everyone is geared up. Yes, no. This is how it is.
Sure, sir. Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The next question is a follow from the line of Rahul Jain from Credence Wealth. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, two questions. One is, sir, with regards to the EBITDA margins or EBITDA per ton. So, if you could share some details with regards to how do we look at our business in terms of, say, a per kg EBITDA or per ton EBITDA, could that be a better metrics to look around for?
You see, there is a wide range.
Steady state situation, what could be the EBITDA per kg, EBITDA per ton, whichever, how should we look at it?
You see, Raw material prices have gone up from say about 80 rupees a kg to 125 to 130 rupees a kg. So now if you talk in terms of percentage, it is a different metrics at 80 rupees kg and 125 rupees kg. But if you talk in terms of per kg EBITDA, it will be within a smaller range as compared to percentage range in terms of GP. So at times it's better to talk in terms of per kg EBITDA and at the time of as a percentage of sale. But you have to see a combination of two, because fittings will offer a very different kind of EBITDA situation, and building product and agriculture will offer a different kind of situation. So if you want to really aggregate, percentage may be somewhere more appropriate to look at, but if you see product wise, it may be per kg, maybe it is better to look at. That's how I would look at it.
So sir, steady state EBITDA per kg क्या होगा हमारे business में?
इसका sir, again will repeat.
I'm saying so steady state EBITDA per kg, how should we look at it?
I couldn't get the first part of the question.
I'm trying to ask sir, so in a steady state raw material scenario.
Steady state, steady state at what level? At 130 rupees a kg level or 80 rupees a kg level? That's the issue. Historically, the prices had never moved about 85, 86. It's only during last pandemic, that is beginning April 2020, that prices saw a new curve and new reality where it went up to 130 plus. So it is a very temporary short-term phenomena, but we are all feeling that to get back to the old realities of 80 rupees a kg are now very difficult to think. But there will be new normal. Where it will settle, we have to see. But today, the worldwide, the PVC is in shortage. Logistics are big challenge in terms of container and ship movements. So we are very, very clear that for immediate terms, we cannot see again those prices which we are used to in this industry for many years.
Sir, I do understand the price movements of the raw material. That's why I'm saying in terms of EBITDA per ton, EBITDA per kg, in a scenario where there is no inventory loss and there is no inventory gain, because quarter-wise it will fluctuate because of inventory gain in one quarter and then inventory loss in the next quarter. I'm saying if the there is zero inventory gains or losses, what is the steady state EBITDA per kg at somewhere around the current volumes which we target?
See,
basically value addition कितना target करते हैं हम raw material से?
मैं आपसे कह रहा था, they say fitting would offer a different EBITDA margin per kg. Agriculture pipe will offer a different EBITDA margin. A smaller diameter of say about 20 mm to 25 mm to 40 mm will offer a different EBITDA margin to 160 mm diameter, because there are different EBITDA and the market realities of acceptance and application.
Sure.
So it is very difficult to aggregate in terms of any specific number for the entire range.
Okay. Sure, sir. Could you share that number for the only agri part then? Is it possible to share?
No. As such, we target something for an extruded product different than a molding product. But anyone would be looking at a number where at least he is adding, say, about 20 rupees or plus minus something on an average on a EBITDA basis, which will be, but it may be for a higher diameter, it will be, say, 15 rupees. So something like that will happen. So if I am talking about, so it is difficult because 20 mm, 40 mm is a different game as compared to 160 mm, 110 mm range. So there will be difference in each segment.
Sure. And sir, with regards to this inventory gain and losses, I understand that June 21 end prices were higher than March 21.
but probably in between the prices could be higher, which is why at the end of June quarter, you may have some raw material which you have bought in April or May, which could be at higher prices. That could have led to inventory losses by June end.
June end prices were lower as compared to March end prices.
Mm-hmm.
That's why inventory loss.
Achha. And they have again moved up now.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is of Rajesh Ravi from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. I am seeing your employee cost number to be volatile. For March quarter was up to around 10 crore and now again back to 5 crore. Could you throw some light?
I cannot hear you. Can you speak louder, please?
Just one second.
Hello, is it better?
Yeah, it's much better.
Yeah. So this employee cost number seems to be volatile from 10 crore in March quarter back to 5 crore, and earlier also it was around 5.5 crore level in the preceding quarter.
Which cost? Would you repeat? Which
employee cost.
Employee cost. Okay, right. Thanks. Employee cost was? Hello?
March quarter number is 10 crore.
Right.
And now it is back to 5 crore. In the before March, it was around 5.5 crore on a quarterly basis.
No, I will have to check. It should not be like that. There cannot be difference like this, 10 crores and 5.5 crores. For a quarter, it should be around 5.5 crores. I'll come back to you. Let me check.
Okay, sir. Yeah, that's all from my end.
And you send your address, we'll get back to you.
Sure.
That much of difference.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Keshav Garg from CCIPL. Please go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to understand that, sir, since we are in branded business and B2C mostly, so then why are we...
I'm losing your voice in between. It's breaking.
Sir, I'll try to speak louder. Sir, I am wondering Sir, I hope my voice is audible now.
No, voice is audible, but it's breaking in between. Could you...
Sir, so I was wondering that since we are in B2C business and mostly we are doing retail sales, then why are we having inventory losses? I mean, why can't we just hold the prices? I mean, if the raw material is falling, why do we need to reduce the prices immediately since it's a branded product?
You see, we try to maintain our prices, but it's a competitive market where all competitions are operating in same market space. So if you are in a market and if suppose raw material prices have fallen, then every other competition will be trying to see that they maximize their share. And in such a situation, rational and objective, and you have to pass on the benefit to a customer.
Okay, sir. And also wanted to understand, sir, that for the same product, sir, I mean, as compared to, let's say, Supreme Industries, sir, I mean, how is our pricing? We are selling at what discount to Supreme Industries for the exact same product?
Wherever we are stronger market presence and recall in terms of brand, we are selling mostly not comparing our prices at a cheaper price, but at par or above.
Okay, sir. Sir, so basically you are selling at a premium to Supreme Industries?
Some products in our market, wherever we are operating, we have a strong market presence and our brand. That's where we sell at our prices.
Which is higher than Supreme Industries?
I mean, that would be size-wise to be checked. It would be a wrong statement to make on a public platform. But if you better check with the dealers, they'll give you a clear feedback where we sell.
And sir, lastly, wanted to understand, sir, that since Maharashtra is our major market and one major player, Jain Irrigation, sir, I think they are not doing too well. So you think that that gives us an additional opportunity to increase our market share over there?
It gives to every processor who is present in that market with a branded image to gain, because the market is same, and if number of strong operators are reduced, the gain for everyone will be there to share.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I would now like to conference over to Mr. Shiv Singh Mehta from Kirti Industries for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Thank you to the all participation that you have found time and been with us. And I hope that I have been able to give you some perspective and answers to your queries and questions. If there are any further questions and you want to know more about company, please reach out to our investor relations manager at Valorum Advisors. I again thank you and hope that you stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Kirti Industries India Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.